So here we are on the next job. I'm just going to be, it's quite a simple job today, just going to be replacing this guttering and the rise and fall brackets. So I'm going to be taking all these out of the wall, and they're not in that bad nick actually, but you know, covered in paint and what have you. Cosmetically, we're going to replace these. A couple of a bit bent actually. Replace them and put some nice shiny new ones in. Alright, so we've got the gutter off. I'm just going to get these out now. Now sometimes they're pretty tight. I just knock it either side with a hammer, and quite often they just pull out. And there you go. There you go. Alright, so we've got all the old brackets out, which didn't take long at all. Got some new rise and fall brackets here. So I'm going to, first thing to do, I'm not necessarily going to use the same hole that was used before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to gauge out how many I need, and then mark where I'm going to have them and start making some new holes, and I'll just show you how I fit them. I mean, I guess to be fair, it's not rocket science, but I mean, the way I do it, no one's ever shown me. I've just kind of worked it out myself, just by making a hole in the mortar. I fit like a wooden wedge in there to hold it in place while it's all pointed up and filled with mortar as well. So the wedge just holds it, you know, while the mortar's going off. But I'll just show you that process, and hopefully it helps if you have something similar. Alright, so I've made each of the holes where the new bracket's going to be fitted, just by using the old spike, banging it in there. You don't really want to like bang the end of the new spikes too much anyway, because what you're going to do is you're going to knacker the end of it, which is going to, you'll find that these are actually covered in like a galvanized steel, and if you start bashing away at it, that's all going to kind of start flaking off, so the end of it's just going to start rusting earlier than the rest, so you know, damage the old ones, not the new ones. Anyway, once you've made the hole, there's going to be some dust in there. You just want to try and clean it out as much as you can before you start putting your new mortar in there. You know, so I've got each of the holes, and they're all where my pencil mark is, that little line there. Each of the brackets will be nice and evenly spaced, so it should look nice from the ground as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put each one in. Oh, actually, another thing, obviously, how far it should go in, you're going to need the actual gutter clip part. I mean, I normally do it so this part is basically against the brick. I mean, you're going to want obviously a drip edge covered in moss here, but you want a decent coverage. So I normally have it so that the clip is against the wall. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a slither of wood. So I'm going to fill it with mortar, get a slither of wood underneath there, jam it in just to hold it in place really well. The mortar sets, and then the mortar is going to hold it there. And that's it. So I'll go and get a mix on for my muck. So what I'll do first is I've basically pointed the hole and pushed it back as far as I can get. And then I've cut myself a few little wood wedges like this. And I'm going to put the new spike in to the right position. Fit an appropriate wood wedge under there, just to bash it in with a hammer or whatever tool, to wedge it to the top of the brick like that. And then finish pointing it, neaten it up, and make sure it's at the right distance that the gutter attachment is going to be on the brick like that. And then and then we're good to go. So there we go, we've got the wedge in. It's easier to get that in. If you take this piece off, you can just hammer it in as far as it will go with nothing getting in the way. And then I've just used this little tool here just to get it beyond the brickwork, so I can obviously finish pointing that and the wood is covered. And then that's with the wedge in there, that's pretty solid. And when all the mortar goes off, obviously that's going to hold it in place and it ain't going anywhere. Okay then, so that's pointing up finished. So that's one down and 5 to go. So I've got all the brackets on now. Almost ready to put the gutter on, but first of all, obviously I've got to make sure they're all aligned correctly. So I'm gonna, the one on the end here, we're gonna raise pretty much as high as it will go. Then I've got my spirit level and resting on this one to the next one along, and then you just got to adjust the bolts. Right, lower this a bit slightly, and then you're going to want it just off. So there you can see I now have a little bit of a slope, so I've adjusted that one about right. So now we're going to tighten this up, bring that up to where it should be, and then I've just got my adjustable spanner. Just going to use that to fully tighten the top one, and we're all good to go. And then I'll keep doing that down there to the outlet. Obviously the water's got to make it down there, isn't it? All right, so I got all the brackets leveled out, well angled, so it comes down towards the outlet. And now I'm just getting ready to fit the gutter. So now on these brackets, when using a plastic gutter and these joints, what I normally like to do is get the joint so it is near one of the brackets, so it's better supported, because these brackets are actually technically designed to rest against a wood fascia or a PVC fascia, so that these bits that stick down at the back rest against a flat surface like that, and it tends to kind of hold it, you know, and keep it in position. But if you put one of these brackets, let's say for example here, in the middle of two of these rise and fall brackets, one of these unions, then it potentially is going to sag, and it quite often does. So for that reason I like to put it right next to one of the brackets. And I mean, here this is a 4 meter length. It's actually worked out quite well because it's going to sit right next to a bracket anyway. But if you know, let's say the gutter ended over here, then I would cut it to fit the union near a bracket, and that way it's just going to sit better, not sag, potentially cause a leak down the line a bit earlier on. Okay, so I'm just going to fit the gutter in place now. So on this union, which I've just fitted next to the bracket as I explained, what I've done is I've actually put some sealant in there, silicone adhesive. If you've seen the video I did on how to repair a gutter leak, then you'll see basically my method of doing that. So I'm not necessarily repairing a leak here, but I'm putting some silicone adhesive in there because there's nowhere for me to fix a screw. If you remember, I said on that video, one of the reasons for a gutter leak is not fixing the joint in place. Well, the best I can do here is add some adhesive just to, you know, keep the joint sturdy. And it's next to a bracket, so it's supported. And there we go. Job's a good one.